Hello, fellow Etsy entrepreneurs and aspiring shop owners. Welcome back to the monthly Etsy numbers report. I am thrilled to share with you the exciting progress made during the month of May in the Etsy shop. May was an extraordinary month for my Etsy store, filled with determination, growth, and a whole lot of inspiration. The total revenue reached in the shop was an impressive $55,075.94. We are going to break that number down. I am going to tell you all about exactly what of that was profit, exactly what of that I had to pay to the print-on-demand companies that I have partnered with, what I made back in credit card rewards this month alone, and what I spent on ads and whether or not they were profitable this month. If you're new here, I'm simply Shauna. I used to be a 4th grade teacher with absolutely no business background, and now I am a full-time 6-figure Etsy seller. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Before we do a deep dive into the numbers, I just want to share this little bit of inspiration with you. Persistence is truly the driving force behind any successful Etsy shop. As Winston Churchill said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. So embrace setbacks as opportunities and learning experiences for growth and just keep pushing forward. Success is not final. You have to keep being a student. You have to keep striving toward the next goal. Failure is not fatal. And I so wish everyone could just get zapped with that message. That's such an important message. Failure is not fatal. All of the things that you've got going through your head that would keep you from going on this journey and getting to a month of $44,000 revenue, or whatever it is that you would like to get to, you're going to have setbacks and failures along the way. All of the things that you're worried about. What if I can't design well? I don't know how to do market research. I don't know how to employ the strategies everyone's talking about. What if I get an order and they want an exchange or they want a refund? Or what if I get a hold on my account and Etsy's not paying me right away? There are a gazillion things that you could say, what if this happens? And then never try. Failure is not fatal. You have to think about, hey, what is the chance that this bad thing might happen? How hard is it going to be for me to recover? Do I have a game plan in case this bad thing happens? How even likely is this bad thing to happen? And then make your decision on whether or not you're going to take that risk. How big is that risk really? And what is the payoff if you're successful? There were countless moments the first year and a half of this journey. I would come home, it would be time to list. I made a conscious decision not to tutor anymore. I was going to dump that time, and that was risky because I needed that tutor money, and I wasn't making any money on Etsy for a while. So I would come home and I would list. There were so many moments I sat right on the couch while I was working on the computer, and the TV's not on for hours. I'm working on my Etsy shop. Doubt would creep in. Well, Shauna, what if you can't do it like these other people on YouTube are saying they did it? Well, Shauna, what if it's too late? People are saying it's too late to get into this, that if you wanted to get into POD, you should have done it right when Etsy connected with POD shops. I chose to push those negative thoughts out of my mind and to remind myself that all I was really risking was my time. I had a plan for how many months I was going to put into it. And if I didn't see a reward at that time, then yes, I had to go back and tutor before I got myself backwards with finances. And I just chose to list. And through that process, my listing got better and better. At month 2, never did the words come out of my mouth, but I'm doing everything right. Guys, I'm still not doing everything right. There's a ton of things still for me to learn. So you never want to have the attitude, but I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing and it's not working. No, if it's not working, there is something missing. And we have to figure out what that missing thing is. So you just have to buckle down and be dedicated to getting it figured out. Okay, inspirational speech over. Let's jump into the numbers. All right, here we go, the May numbers. From May 1st to May 31st, 2023, we've got 45,000 visits. We've got 1,022 orders, and the revenue that passed through the shop was $55,075.94. And of course, the purpose really of these monthly reports is to show you what you can do over time in your shop. What kind of success can you build on year after year? What kind of growth is possible 1 year later? Because that's what I was always super interested in as I was growing my shop, and still am interested in when I'm looking at people more successful than myself and trying to learn from them. So now let's go back and look at what it was like in 2021, my very first May, and in 2022, my second May. Here we see in that very first May of 2021, I had 5,073 visits in the shop. And you can imagine I have a lot more listings now for opportunities to get eyeballs on. So the more listings you have, the more opportunity you have to get visits. And then I had 189 orders. Wow, have I come a long way? And the revenue was $4,645.48. Now, this would have been my 8th month doing Etsy, and I remember I was just starting to make some nice profits at this time. I want to say I made around $1,000 in the month of May, and that was incredible profit, and that was incredibly exciting for me that month. I'm not looking at all the numbers in front of me right now, but in some of the monthly reports that I've done this year, I went ahead and wrote down with graphics, visuals for you, exactly how many listings I had month by month that first year, exactly how much profit I had. I will list the playlist down in the description below and each individual video from this series if you want to go back and check that information out. Let's jump into that second May. So here we have May of 2022. I bump up to 17.9, almost 18,000 visits. I have 418 orders, and my revenue is $18,168. And here I've toggled a little switch to go ahead and compare to previous year. So the top line is this year, and the bottom line is last year. And both years you'll kind of see my May started out a little bit stronger and ends a little bit weaker. That's because of the niches that I'm in. One of my niches goes really strong until about mid-May and then tapers off and picks back up again in July. So some of my sales, my sales dip a little bit for that reason. So my revenue was right around $55,000, and the actual payout from Etsy paid to me was $44,080.82. You can get this information, and I have explained it in other monthly income report videos. You can get this information by going into Etsy and you can get your monthly reports in there. And the reason the payout isn't the same as the revenue is because the revenue is including like my Etsy ads. That's not with the deduction of what I paid in Etsy ads or shipping, if you have shipping separate. So there's some things in there, or my fees, my Etsy fees. So all of that, after all of that was taken care of, $44,080 is actually what was paid out to me. Now, before we start planning on how to spend $44,000, we need to go and pay for the products that we had to buy from our POD partners, our print shops that are printing all of our materials for us, all of our shirts, our totes, our mugs, whatever items you're printing, and shipping them for us. So for the materials and the printing and the shipping, I had to pay $31,202 to my POD partners, which are mostly Printful, and I also use Printify as well. I have links for both of them down below if you'd like to check them out. Now, before we move on from this, I wanted to mention real quick, I mentioned credit cards in a previous video, and there was a lot of people that said, yeah, please do a whole video dedicated to credit cards and how you use credit cards. So I am going to do that video. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content from this channel, including the dedicated video about credit cards and how to make them really work for you. So from now on in our monthly reports, I'm going to mention to you what I was able to get back in credit card rewards. So $31,202.15 I use the Wells Fargo card that gives me 2% back. And when I do a quick calculation on the calculator, I know that I racked up $624.04 on my Wells Fargo card. And it's great. It's really easy to use. I recently did a vacation video that I paid for a huge chunk. It was $3,000 I put on the Wells Fargo card that I just cashed in the rewards. And that was just from a few months of racking up those rewards. So once your business scales, it just becomes more and more. Like you just get more and more rewards from that. And of course, that brings us to the profit. What did I get to keep in my pocket? Now, whenever I'm giving you profit numbers, keep in mind that I haven't paid taxes on this profit yet. But the profit for this month was $12,878. Honestly, when I did the numbers, first, that's unreal to me. I'm just going to say that. I prepared this video, and every time I prepare these videos, these numbers seem unreal to me. This is so new and so amazing. And to be able to scale a business in 2.5 years to this, I went to school for 5 years to be a teacher, to come out making $50,000, not even, after 15 years. So to learn a whole skill and a whole business model on YouTube. And I've done 3 courses. One right at the beginning, and then I've done 2 more recently, one being Cassiy's, as a matter of fact. And I actually have a link down to her course down below. These are things that I have invested in, so I have spent some money in learning how to do the skill, but not until after I was making money. And so it is not escaping me how incredible this opportunity is to learn a skill on Etsy, whether you choose to invest in a course or not. You can do it either way. You could be successful with this either way. Again, I didn't invest in courses until I was making enough money to cover the course. That is how I chose to, instead of paying myself for my time, I thought, well, maybe I could grow my business bigger and better if I learn more. And I do remember, I remember very specifically driving home. I was in the Jeep on a very pretty street. I can see it. And I remember hearing people speaking on YouTube. It was a YouTuber speaking with someone who was, in this process trying to do it. And they said they had made $15,000 profit in a month. And I was just like, yes, I want to know how to do that. I want to, I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to try to make that happen too. And at the time I was making pennies per hour, but it was such an inspiring story to hear that was possible. And, during Q4, yeah, I've made that much, but to have a regular month in the month of May and to be getting to this number of almost 13,000 is pretty incredible. And if you're a regular around here, you know that my goal is $200,000 profit for the year. I was right over $100,000 last year, so I made a really aggressive goal to see if I could double the profit in my shop. So here's the breakdown month by month. I'm not going to go over each number. You can read it there. But we've got May there, $12,878.67. We do see that is growth from April to May. I did move up. Now let's take a peek at, I've got 2021 profit, 2022 profit, and 2023 profit. Again, you could take a look at each of those, months. It starts with January and it goes through December. And you could take a look at the growth month by month over the course of those 3 years. But I highlighted there for you what we've talked about here, from $1,180 in 2021 to $4,000, almost $700 in 2022. And then almost tripling to $12,878 in 2023. That was a pretty big jump. Now, altogether for 2023, that is just under $44,000 profit. And you might be thinking, well, gee, Shauna, we're almost halfway through the year, and you are only about a quarter of the way to your goal. You might not be able to do it. But I just want to point out in 2022 there, I highlighted September, October, November, December. October, November, and December are what we call Q4, and those are the biggest spending months. If you take a look there, you'll see there were just some really big numbers there last year. The month of November alone, Has an insane profit of $27,000 just that month. So if you do everything right and you prepare properly for Q4, you should be able to make all over again what you did throughout the year, January through September. And that really rang true for me every single year of this business. And of course, so this July, you and I will start preparing, and I'll be sharing the process with you so that if you have decided to go for it this Q4, you and I will both be ready. Now, this means I do need to still make $156,550, but I do believe I still have a shot of making this happen. Now, something did happen during the month of May, and I'm going to mention it now. It's going to affect this month of June, so I will mention it again during the June numbers report. I really came in under on my listings. So in order to double my shop, you might imagine if I had gone in, I had an aggressive profit goal. So I had to have an aggressive listing goal because that's the only way that I've got to have more items to sell and more things to catch if I'm going to expect to double my profits. So I really messed up during the month of May because life got in the way. I got very sick. I was down for a whole week. I didn't do any YouTube videos. It took everything out of me just to make sure the customer service was done and my orders were pushed through. So I was on survival mode for a week. There were some other weeks where I have been, juggling this YouTube goal and trying to build a second business really with YouTube. When I quit my teaching job, I only allowed myself to do that if I built something else. And I could have either chosen, I gave myself the choice of either building an Amazon, t-shirt business or to start on YouTube. And coming from a teaching background and enjoying teaching, it just seemed like the way to go. Like, let's build a YouTube channel. So I really kind of refocused some energy there and let some time slip away from me with listing. And this has been a constant struggle for me. Here's my Etsy shop. It's so very important to me, my Etsy shop. And it's my blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this Etsy shop and trying to build this other thing with YouTube, and then YouTube pulling me away from what I could be spending on my Etsy shop. So I'm still struggling with making sure I have a good balance here. But I did wind up only listing 46 things in my shop. And when I was teaching full-time, hey, 50 things for the month was a great goal. But going full-time in this and having a goal of this insane, aggressive goal of $200,000 profit, that's not going to fly. 46 listings isn't going to cut it. So I usually am trying for 150 listings to 200 listings. I usually set my bar high, so I try for 200, and then I wind up coming in at like 160, 170, something like that. So I did wind up with only 46 listings. Now, as a result, I can't expect my June to blow last June out of the water. I expect it to be better because I've built these train tracks and my train is chugging along, but I didn't reinforce those train tracks the way they needed to be reinforced in order for this train to keep pushing the way it is, if that makes sense. I hope it does. It does to me. So I'm putting that out there. You're going to watch me dip, and I want you to know why I'm dipping. And I'm always thinking about why I'm dipping, whether it was when I was making 10 sales a month or whether it's when I'm making 1,000 sales a month. I am always reflecting on what has gotten me to where I'm at, what actions helped bring the success, what lack of actions brought me backwards or didn't help, weren't helping me to achieve what I was trying to achieve. Now let's jump into ads. What part did ads play in this? How much did I spend on ads? Were they profitable? Was it worth it? I have a video that I did. I took a lot of time to put that video together with examples. It's very thorough on my exact process of ads. If you are afraid of ads, is a great video to watch. You'll be a little less scared afterwards. If you're unsure if you're doing it right, well, I am so happy with the way I'm doing it. And I think you'll really feel grounded after watching the video. So if you haven't watched it yet, I will link it down below so that you could go back and watch that and feel more comfortable with ads. Now, with that being said, because this month was so crazy, I only did, less than 50 listings. I also didn't follow through on what I usually would like to do with my ads. So when I went in there to do this numbers video, it was like, oh boy, what am I going to find with my ads? I have not been babysitting them at all. I haven't been going in and turning keywords off. I haven't been turning ads off that weren't working. So let's go look at it together. I'll show you how it actually panned out. So my revenue for the ads was $22,300.28. So that's how much money came, from sales from the ads. I had 349 orders from those ads, and I had to spend $5,121.77. So that's what I paid back to Etsy in order to run those ads. Overall, I make right around 28% profit off of the revenue number, sometimes a little lower. I did an A/B test video not too long ago where I mentioned that I'm going to be running an A/B test in my shop, and it's so interesting. I did A/B test with profit pricing versus break-even pricing. Break-even pricing is where you price your products just to cover your Printful or Printify costs and your Etsy fees. And so the idea is that you're just breaking even. Once it sells a couple times, you bump it up to profit pricing. But this helps you get into the algorithm. It's been incredibly eye-opening for me just on how amazing this strategy is. I will be putting a video together soon showing you all of the results I got from this. So now when I do have people clicking on those break-even pricing listings, I would be losing a little money on those. But overall, when I'm looking at my numbers, I'm still coming in around 28%. Some weeks it looks like it's more like 26%, but so it's really kind of in there. I'm not losing money overall on my ads. When I take 28% of $22,300, the revenue, I get $6,244. I wrote that at the top. When I subtract what I spent in ads, which was $5,121, I see that I still made for the month $1,123. So not only was I broke, not only did the ads pay for themselves, I also made an extra $1,000. Some benefits of running ads are that it will get more eyeballs on items faster. You will get more data. You could go into Etsy and look at exactly what key terms are coming up, what people are searching and clicking on your listings for. If you wind up with a listing that's getting a lot of visits or views and you are not converting those into sales, then you know something's up. There's either, when they're clicking in, there's something about the design that's not hitting people right. It was interesting enough to click into, but something's losing them about the design. Or there's a mistake in the drop-down menus that you need to fix, or you need to relook at your pricing. Something's going on if a lot of people are clicking in. But you do get a lot of information by running the ads. And you also give you give listings a boost. So you could get them kicked off faster than they would have kicked off organically. Once they get some attention on ads, they will often also get more attention organically. And their ranking is moving up in the Etsy algorithm. And so the whole, whether it's organic, the organic version of the ad, or the paid version, the ad itself, either way, people interacting with it, it's increasing the quality score of that listing, which will put it out in front of more people. With that being said, I do support Etsy ads. However, the 4th grade teacher, Shauna, that first got into Etsy was definitely afraid to run those. And I did not understand much about them. So hopefully if you haven't researched them much, or if you're afraid of them, you'll watch that video that's linked down below. But if you are afraid of them and you don't want to run them, it's okay. I built my business without running them. I started dabbling with it more recently. So you absolutely could do this without ads, but the business side of me that has now flourished and grown and learned, I feel that I have to share this with you, that if they're done effectively, they could be a really powerful way to move your business faster. I was very pleasantly surprised with my results with ads this month, since I did not follow all the tips that I give in that video, but I have been doing so many of the things I teach in that video that I think that they have been strengthened, and they could take that hit of me not looking in on them for a month, and they were still profitable. So I will get back on that this month to make sure I keep them healthy. Consistency really and truly is the key to building a thriving Etsy business. You've heard that before, and you're going to keep hearing it, because it is absolutely the cornerstone of making this work. Bo Bennett said, "Success is not what you have, but who you are." Stay committed. Be consistent. Get that research piece figured out. Practice really does make you better at all of this. Guys, let's embark on this journey together. Believe in the possibility, harness the power of persistence, and embrace consistency. Success on Etsy is within reach. I promise you that. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. And hopefully I'll see you in this one, but not until after that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.